I'm an English ed major, and this is my classroom management presentation. The classroom management strategy I picked was the responsive classroom, and this was an approach designed for K through 8 classrooms, but it can easily be adapted to high school classrooms with no problem. It fosters safe, challenging, joyful classrooms that bring together academic and social learning. There are 7 basic principles of this management strategy. They include social and academic curriculums are equally important. How children learn how they learn is as important as what they learn. The greatest cognitive growth occurs through social interaction, so example would be like using group work or lit circles. For example, in my English classroom, we've used that quite a few times. Children need basic social skills to be academically successful. Getting to know your students on an individual basis outside the classroom, figuring out what their culture and how they develop is also equally important. As is getting to know the families of your students. And working together with your own staff is very important for success in the classroom. Just an example on that too, in my practicum, my teacher and I designed a poetry slam for all the students. They wrote poetry throughout the semester, and then we invited their parents, the staff, all to come into the classroom, and we shared the poems, had cake. It was a really great experience. And some 6 strategies to use for this management would be using morning meetings. When you come into class, you can talk about any issues you had with the lesson before, or if there's some sort of disturbances within the classroom you need to air out, that's a good time to do that. You can have their involvement in rules and logical consequences. You can lead them in a guided discovery activity. For example, I know all these are English examples because that's what I know, but you can show them a book that you haven't read yet. You can lead them through the book, ask them to predict what will happen based on the cover, the title, that kind of stuff. Academic choice is also a great way to make sure your students respond well to your classroom, and that could be giving them multiple intelligence projects where they have different options like videos or written reports or some sort of presentation, just to give them a choice in how they want to proceed. Classroom organization, make sure you give them an input into how they can organize the class, and as well as developing family communication strategies is equally important, and that can include sending emails to parents. You should always make sure to include emails about positive things, not just negative things. And then for my 1-minute strategies, one of them I had was journal writing. I know someone else had did this earlier, but I thought it was a really applicable strategy for me. It enhances student-teacher communication. You can give them your own notebooks, or you can allow them to pick out their own. But I said you could provide your own, just in case if the student can't afford to buy their own, just to make sure they're included. You can provide them prompts that relate to a recent lesson or a text that you're reading. It's a great way to know how your students are doing with the text or how they're doing in class. The other one is a letter to the parents, and on your handout, I think it should be on one of the sides there. This is an example of one. It's easy to know your students through the eyes of their own parents. They tell you about their interests, what they like, maybe what they like to read, what they like to write. It's a good way to establish a good rapport between your parents and yourself. Like I said, it's just a good way to communicate. Lastly, there's the exit and entrance questions. This can be used as a form of review for your students. You can either do it before class, you don't allow the students to enter class unless they can answer a question about the previous lesson or really whatever you want to relate it to. The same applies to exit questions. You can have them answer a question before they leave the class. It's a great way to motivate students as well. Before recess, you can use that as a way for students to make sure that they pay attention and they can't leave the classroom until they answer a question correctly. So before I end, I would like you guys, I give you all a note card for the activity. I'd just like you to fill out an exit slip about what you took away from the presentation or whatever. And I'll come down and collect them in a sec.